We have called together the Sunday Roundtable this morning, and joining us are Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh, Republican political analyst Rob Gray. All right, guys, let me just ask you right off the top. You just heard John Barrows. Where is he in the starting line compared to the other mayoral candidates? Marianne, let me start with you.
You know, John Barrows is the only one running in 2021 who ran in 2013 where he came in sixth. Only got 9,148 votes. Marty Walsh won that primary by more than twice that with over 20,000 votes. I have to say, listening to this interview today, a couple stumbles there, including the record of giving contracts to women and minority-owned businesses. And when you look at it across the board, you now have to say, did he do anything in the last 7 or 8 years to make him a better candidate? Is he going to be able to raise money because he was chief development officer, business development officer for Boston? Will he be a better candidate? Can he put the organization together? A lot of questions there.
But there's still a lot of time, right, Rob? I mean, maybe?
Sure. I mean, he's last right now, okay? But in a six-way race, last is not far behind first. You may be able to get into the final two with only 18 or 20% of the vote. So that's an advantage for somebody like John Barrows, who has run before. But I agree with Marianne. I think it's odd for him to be claiming credit for the Walsh administration. I think that's tough to pull off. And I think he also stumbled today on his personal vaccination answer. I think there are going to be more questions asked about that and whether he jumped out of line.
Agree.
Let's switch from City Hall to State House. It's been brewing all year, but the political feud between Governor Baker and the teachers union is finally out in the open. Baker says meeting teachers' demand to set up vaccine clinics at their individual schools would take away limited supplies from the elderly still trying to get appointments. Who's right here, Rob?
Charlie Baker is 1,000% right. The teachers' unions have been the main roadblock to kids getting back in school. It hasn't been health concerns. It hasn't been parent concerns. It hasn't been the CDC. It's been the teachers' unions. Finally, somebody in power is taking them on. Good for Charlie Baker. And they have gummed up the works with local school districts for months and months and months. And now it's March and kids still aren't in school full time.
Marianne, is Rob right about this?
Well, someone more powerful than Charlie Baker, Joe Biden, said in his speech the other night that teachers, staff, and bus drivers should all be vaccinated before schools reopen. So it's a problem that Charlie Baker created by forcing a timeline before people got vaccinations. This is a no-brainer. So it's either bad decision and bad management, or he's trying to pick a fight with the teachers union so he can get votes from suburban unenrolled voters, parents in a third-term bid who are upset about the fact their kids aren't back in school yet. And you look at the fact he did an event in Lynn the following morning, on Friday morning, to make that point starts to make it look a lot more political than it is anything based on science or judgment.
Teachers unions, fellow teachers in Catholic and private schools have been teaching full-time in person since September. It has nothing to do with vaccination. They just keep trying to move the goalposts.
Transmission rates in public schools in Massachusetts up this week. Everything else is down.
The next item involves the governor. Governor Baker is apparently paying double what most other states are paying to healthcare facilities vaccinating the public, $90 versus $45, the national Medicare rate. So, Marianne, let me start with you. Is this more about smart politics to eradicate any sluggishness in the vaccination system, or is this more of a statement about the power of the healthcare hospital lobby?
I think this is part of a larger problem here and how Baker has approached dealing with the pandemic. When you look at the fact that he overlooked local health departments who spent decades and millions of dollars to do this very thing, vaccinate people. He didn't use known vendors they already use, and instead, hired people they'd never seen before, never done before, and spent a ton of money. Did they also, by the way, pay private entities to host vaccination sites when public ones are struggling? There are a lot of questions here. Last point, the state paid businesses who violated COVID regulations across the state $1.4 million, yet there are all these businesses out there who never got a penny. So there are a lot of questions to ask about all of this. They should be asked now. The media and the legislature's starting to ask them, but I think this is a much bigger problem.
Bigger problem, Rob? What do you think?
I have confidence that Baker wouldn't have done this if it wasn't essential to getting vaccines out quickly, and I'm all for it. And let's face it, the federal government has been printing funny money and shoveling it out to states to deal with this crisis. Rightly so. States should spend it to get people vaccinated more quickly. Good for Charlie Baker.
Staying on the vaccine politics subject, pre-registration was launched this week in Massachusetts for the state's 7 largest vaccination sites. Is this better late than never, or too little too late, Rob?
Well, still 5 million people in the state need to get vaccinated. So despite the rocky road at the beginning, it makes all the sense in the world to fix it now because the vast majority of people still need to get vaccinated.
Marianne?
Well, there's this company called Google that they're using now. Maybe you've heard about it. It's amazing. They're doing the registration now. They're doing the booking. They're doing that. So let's see how the big Google machine works, which could have been done months ago, okay? So let's see how that works
How do you
out.
spell that Google, by the way?
I think it starts with a G.
So we here in Massachusetts have seen Governor Baker shed tears more than a couple of times, but when he choked up this week, reflecting on the year of sacrifices and deaths, he made the national news shows. This is what he did.
This is the 1-year anniversary of the signing of the executive order here in Massachusetts.
No one doubts that he cares, but does this, Marianne, buy him wiggle room if he runs again?
Certainly the loss of over 16,000 fellow residents of Massachusetts is worth mourning and shedding a lot of tears. I do think, however, if it's really looked at, the poll that everybody touted saying Charlie Baker has done a great job with the pandemic, that was one question. And if you looked at that question in the poll, only 29% of the people polled thought he did a really good job. So tears are certainly worthy and appropriate for this time, but whether that helps Charlie Baker in a third-term bid, we shall see.
And Rob, I don't want to suggest he was thinking about a third term when he was crying the other day. I'm not suggesting that, but does it buy him the wiggle room?
Listen, I think you could tell that was genuine, and I think that has appealed to voters. That's certainly not why he did it, but compare that to the calculated, somewhat snide responses of Andrew Cuomo in similar forums. In terms of beating Baker, you can't beat somebody with nobody. Dems don't have anybody.